are now listening to The Temple of the Killer Tiger Monkeys. The Temple of the Killer Tiger Monkeys is a John Mitchell story and is brought to you by Cine Downloads. Narrated by Dr. Hugh Pincott. Previously on the Temple of the Killer Tiger Monkeys...
silence to my union, and we will fight together against this gross injustice.
Yes, I'm a plumber looking for a new challenge.
So here I am with you guys, working hard to defeat the refugee problem.
I will in time learn everything you desire.
We are putting this march into motion, and the demons have a democratically elected right to march.
Now the next part of the story. Episode 15. The temple premises are a hive of activity. The staff have moved in, and the garages they were given have turned out to be much larger than they'd been led to believe. Far from being ordinary garages, they're a set of connected concrete buildings with plenty of space, security, high ceilings, and adjoining rooms. Their last use may have been as that of garages, but it looks as though that was a recent conversion, as the building itself seems to be built for something resembling a small factory or workshops. The staff members are busy getting the place shipshape. Zing T carries a clipboard and is busy directing the new staff members around.
Put it there!
He needs certain rooms cleared of junk, which has to be taken outside.
Move that stuff!
The cleared rooms then need cleaning out and painting.
I'm in charge!
He has a list of deliveries that he's expecting, such as office furniture and expendables, as well as much of the temple's resources that they were allowed to order in from China. Yinghua has been given a room at the rear of the premises where she can enchant the weapons, so-called, they've been issued with. The weapons in question are 40 garden forks, 40 shovels, and 40 brooms. The stickers on them showed that they were bought on offer. Buy one, get one free. No expense spared, she thinks, as she looks at them despairingly. Her room has been decked out with tables, desks, and shelving for all the herbs, potions, and other paraphernalia required for mystical enchanting. One side of the room has a bookshelf filled with ancient and well-worn books on the subject. She places a garden fork on the table in front of her and picks up a book entitled Enchanting for Beginners, Level 2. With a sigh, she starts reading the book, which has 2,400 pages. Kok Wang is in a side room where he is giving the first lessons in fighting demons to a bunch of barely awake recruits. He has a PowerPoint presentation set up on a projector and is talking them through it. He describes some of the various kinds of demons that they could face and how these demons' strengths and vulnerabilities differ, on whether they're elemental in nature or composed of interdimensional spirit ether. The recruits don't know what the hell he's talking about, but they keep quiet and try to stay awake.
I wish I was in bed.
Master Cheng Fu is in the repository. This is the knowledge center of the base. This is where all the ancient scrolls, tomes, and books are kept that record the temple's history, traditions, and battles. The books here also detail the ever-growing knowledge of the demons they have faced, where they've come from, how they operate, and how they can be beaten. In an adjoining room is the shrine to the killer tiger monkeys themselves. This room is candle-lit and has large tapestries on the wall. The tapestry on one wall depicts the tigers as snarling and dangerous. The opposite wall tapestry depicts the monkeys as cunning and devious. Both tapestries face each other as if the tigers and monkeys are enemies in conflict. The middle wall above the candlelit shrine is the final tapestry, which shows the tigers and monkeys together, joined as one, with scores of slain monsters and demons lain beneath their feet. Beneath the shrine is a time-worn wooden chest with intricate carvings in its wood. This chest contains Cheng Fu's personal collection of powerful, mystical items. Some are weapons, while others have more arcane uses. There is a large commotion outside as 23 identical black BMWs drive up to the base and park all around the area. Steve and the other managers get out of the cars. They're all dressed in smart business suits with shiny shoes. They meet opposite the temple's front door, and once they're all together, they walk inside. Xing is busy showing some recruits where to place a table when he sees the 23 managers enter and stops what he is doing. He immediately goes over to them to see what they want. He is told that they're here to view the base and to see how they're settling in.
Oh, okay.
Xing nods and goes to find Cheng Fu in the shrine. When told of their arrival, Cheng Fu rushes out to greet them.
Hello, Steve, and welcome to you all.
Steve and a couple of the others nod and smile. The rest look mean.
As you can see, we are making great progress in building our new home. We have various areas being established, and although they are quite crude right now, they will be fully functioning soon to an extremely high standard.
That sounds wonderful, Chingaling. That's what we like, a high-performance attitude in all aspects of our projects. That's what keeps the wheel turning and the money coming, so that we all benefit, each of us.
Cheng nods appreciatively. The other managers look around in a half-interested fashion. Steve continues.
We've come to see how you're settling in and see the progress you're making. It's nothing to worry about. It's generally a fact-finding mission to check whether things are being done properly and honouring our contract with the council. So lead on, Temple Master, and show us what you've got here.
Cheng nods respectfully and motions for them to follow him. He immediately points out the reception area, which currently consists of a desk and some pencils. On the desk is a 1970s telephone that isn't connected to a line.
We have no telephone line installed here yet or account with a provider. Would you be able to furnish us with this? It would enable us to connect with you, the management team, easier, and also to the outside world. It would mean that we are properly in business if people can contact us.
Don't you have mobile phones? Use those.
Well, I don't have one. I think Cock 1 has one, but it would be better to have an actual phone line, a number paid for by the company.
Yep, that's correct, Chungo. Accurate communication is the linchpin for any successful enterprise. Its value cannot be underestimated. In fact, fast communication is what builds successful commerce and working relationships.
Steve turns to the other managers.
Ted, you're in charge of phones and things. Can you get a line connected in here tomorrow?
Well, not really, Steve. I'm busy tomorrow. I've got that thing that needs doing.
Oh, well, any time this week.
Yeah, no, not really. I could possibly look at it sometime in 4 weeks. I'll try and remember it, though. Yeah, possibly 6 weeks, come to think of it. I've got some things coming up.
That's great, Ted.
Steve turns to Cheng.
Okay, we've got our best man on the job, so your phones will be up and running in no time.
Yes, 4 to 6 weeks maybe,
replies Cheng flatly.
Yeah, 4 weeks, or maybe longer, I don't know. Anyway, what's next on the tour?
Cheng steps out of the reception area and into the central room. This has other rooms attached to it. Cheng ushers them left towards the repository. When they reach the room, all the managers struggle to cram themselves into it. It's a tight squeeze with everyone pressed up against shelves of books and boxes containing scrolls. Cheng stands at the end of the room, beaming with pride at this collection of knowledge. It's probably the best collection of its kind outside China and has been personally collected for the temple's use by Cheng himself. Steve and the other managers peer round at this treasure trove of occult secrets. They whisper to each other for a while before Steve speaks to the still beaming Cheng.
What's all this old crap?
This question shocks Cheng.
This is not crap. These are very important books.
What you going to do with them? Throw them at the demons?
No, don't be ridiculous. The information contained within their pages is priceless. It will help us in our final victory over the demon horde.
Well, it looks like a jumble sale in here or a book section in a charity shop. It's not professional at all. No. You can get all the information from Google or Yahoo these days. You don't need these books.
Cheng Fu tries to speak, but his mouth is suddenly dried up, and a silent squeak comes from him.
In fact, you could probably clear this entire room, and you have another completely empty room to use.
Cheng manages to squeeze out some words.
But what would we use the empty room for?
Well, you could use it for all the information you download from Google. You could print it all off and put the paper copies in filing cabinets in here. Then you'd have a library of information about the demons. That would be far better than having all these stupid old books.
The other managers murmur their approval.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, let's move on and see something else.
Kok Wang has moved on from showing instructional videos and is now teaching some of the recruits basic techniques in anti-demon self-defense. The only so-called weapons available from the armory for use is a collection of brooms. Subsequently, Kok Wang is showing how to keep demons at bay with a broom, how to destabilize the demon by sweeping its legs out from underneath, and then how to sweep the demon to one side for the collection. Kok is proud of the way he's adapted the useless broom into a potentially effective tool. Steve, Cheng Fu, and the other managers walk into the room to observe the training session. Steve watches for a moment and is instantly unhappy with what he sees.
Hey, stop using brooms. You can't use brooms for dangerous work like this. You need the proper equipment. Using brooms is ridiculous.
But it was you who told us to use the broom.
I don't remember saying that.
Yeah, you said proper equipment was too expensive, so we should use brooms and garden forks and things.
Don't be ridiculous. Why would I say something like that? Look, you are to stop using brooms this instant. No more brooms.
Then what are we to use if we can't use brooms?
How should I know? That's your department. You come up with something. Why should I be the one who comes up with all the ideas? You guys are supposed to be the experts. Let's see some expertise for a change. More expertise and less whining, please.
Steve walks away looking disgusted and is followed by the other 20 managers who all look at Kok in a disgusted fashion.
You're useless! You suck!
Cheng looks over to him sympathetically before following the others. They soon walk into the enchanting room. This room is dark, with flashes of luminescent light and strange-smelling smoke. Bags of herbs hang from everywhere, and shelves are full of ancient-looking books. Yinghua stands beside her enchanting table. She is drenched with sweat from her exertions, and the room is hot and humid. Upon the table sits a shiny garden fork. The air around it crackles with an electric charge. She has a smile on her face despite being exhausted. Steve and the others cram themselves into this hot, smoky and sweaty room. Once they're all in, Cheng announces that they're in the enchanting room and that Yinghua is their important temple enchanter. Ying blushes at this. Steve looks around the room and then at Ying. He asks her,
So what have you been enchanting here?
Sir, I have completed my very first enchanting. It has taken all day and a lot of hard work.
Yeah, what is it?
I have enchanted this garden fork so that it is water resistant.
What? This is a stainless steel garden fork. It's already water resistant. What was the point of that? Are you just messing about in here, wasting company time?
No, I'm not messing about. I am only learning to enchant, and this waterproof enchantment is the first one to learn, and I finally managed it.
Yinghua is distressed at having to defend her efforts. Cheng looks over at her with concern. Steve thinks for a second, then he continues.
Okay, I'll let you off with this one. So what other things need enchanting before we're ready to tackle the demons?
Well, we need all the weapons enchanted, and we need vessels to collect the demons. They all need special enchantments, and then we need rooms to collect the collected demons. Also, we could use enchanted armor and also special tools, such as amulets and rings.
That's a lot of enchanting. How long will it take to get all that done?
Well, it will take at least 6 months.
6 months? Don't be ridiculous. Why is it going to take so long?
Well, there is only me here to do the enchanting, and I'm only a learner.
Steve hears this and waves his hand at another manager, who then produces some paperwork for Steve to look at. Steve waves the paperwork in front of Yinghua.
This is a certificate which states that you have been fully trained in enchanting, so you can't tell me that you're just a learner.
I had only 2 hours training, and that was 6 months ago.
Then why did you sign this certificate saying that you're fully trained?
I didn't know what it said. I couldn't read English at the time. I just signed it as I thought it was another piece of paper I had to sign for health and safety. I sign lots of those every week.
Well, this certificate says that you're fully trained, so if you can't do the job you trained for, then you're in breach of your contract. And I can't replace you with someone who can do the job. My advice to you is to get all this enchanting done by the end of the week, or you're out of the door, Miss Pissy Pants.
Steve looks at her with a disgusted look, and all the other managers do the same. They exit the room, and Cheng goes over to comfort her. He has little time to do so before Steve shouts out at him to follow them.
Oh, come on, Chengy Bong.
He leaves the distraught Ying and follows Steve. Steve and the managers now move onto the garage where the camper van is stored. This is a sparse room with a shutter door. Various tools are littered around the room, and the battered van is in the center. The van still carries its scars and damage from recent weeks, and rather than fixing these issues, the 3 recruits here have been instructed to paint over them. Steve looks on happily as he sees the recruits using cheap tins of black matte emulsion paint that he bought at a discount supermarket. They're applying the paint in thick layers with rollers and covering everything with it. Cheng sees Steve's beaming face and asks,
Steve, this fan, although it looks quite lovely being painted, needs to be replaced. It is old and damaged and not fit for purpose.
What are you talking about? It's perfect. Just look at the new paintwork. Completely black. They're even painting the headlights, windows, wheels and mirrors. What we have here is a temple stealth van.
This van will get us arrested. The lights and windscreen are either smashed or cracked, and there are no number plates left. It also looks embarrassing, with all its doors and panels smashed in.
Look, Chong, you failed to mention that you'll be driving this van into the demon zone, where there are no police. In fact, there are no rules or laws in there at all. So having a stealth van is perfect.
Yes, that's great, but the van itself is very old. It's from the 1970s and has over 12 million miles on the clock. We bought it from some hippies who drove this all over the world to India and Australia. It hardly works.
Hardly works. Nonsense. If this van is driven all over the world, it shows that this van is reliable and strong. You can trust a van with 12 million miles on the clock. Believe me.
Yes, okay. But it looks embarrassing. We need a modern van to show the press we are modern and capable.
Yeah, I remember you saying that once before, but we have budget constraints. What we'll do is, whenever we know the press are coming, you park the stealth van down some streets far away, and we will hire a new modern van for the press interviews. Once the press are gone, we'll send the van back, get a refund, and you can get the stealth van again. That's the best way forward, I believe.
Cheng nods with a deflated look, while Steve continues to beam happily at the sloppy paint job that's being applied to the hippie van. They move on into the next room. This room is the media lab, and it contains 10 computers set up on desks. There's a printer and a scanner in the corner. Steve and the managers look around this room happily while Cheng is underwhelmed. Steve sees this.
What's the matter, Cheng? I thought you'd be happy with this room. You wanted modernity with the stealth van, but we can't give you that at the moment. But you have maternity. In here, an up-to-date media suite with state-of-the-art equipment. You are the cutting edge of cyber technology and can take demon combat into a digital age. So why are you looking so sad?
Steve, these computers are very old. They are Pentium 3s, and they run Windows 98. I don't know much about computers, but Kok Wan says you couldn't run a Candy Crush on one of these machines.
Kok Wang, I'm getting pissed off with his attitude. He's always being negative. Look, Chingo, yeah, these computers are old. In fact, we've got them for free from a school, from a learning disability centre, or something like that. They said they were too basic for their needs. But they work, and they'll be great for you guys. We have them all set up in a network so that they talk to each other. Someone can send a message by computer to the person sat next to him. Think of how much time that will save. How cool is that?
That's very impressive, Steve. But Kok Wan says we need internet and Wi-Fi, whatever that is.
Kok Wang again. Yeah, we can't afford the internet for you at the moment, but it's not a problem, as these PCs are so old, they can't even run an internet browser. So don't worry about that right now.
So, is there no money for us to have an up-to-date powerful computer and internet for it?
Unfortunately, that's correct, Cheng. But we are looking into the budget and we will try to get you what you want. But there are no promises.
Cheng Fu nods sadly, and they all move on to the next room. This room is the canteen. It contains numerous tables and chairs. At one end is a sink unit with a cold tap. Steve and the managers filter in and look around. There's not much to see, and they're largely unimpressed. One of the managers, who has not spoken since they arrived, feels that he must say something at some point, if only to justify his enormous salary, so he decides to speak.
There are a lot of tables and chairs in here.
Steve and Cheng turn to face him.
Basically, they are serious fire risk. Also, if they set on fire, as there are so many of them, they will basically block any escape route. People could die in here.
Steve nods in acknowledgement and asks,
What would you advise in this instance?
Well, basically, you need to remove the risk. And as that risk is basically the tables and chairs, then they all have to go.
Cheng interrupts.
If you remove all the tables and chairs, then where will the staff sit and eat? This is the canteen.
Basically, you have to ask yourself a question. Is it better for the staff to eat in opulent, luxurious comfort, or basically burn to death?
Steve listens to that and nods. Cheng is dumbfounded. The manager smiles a little smug smile and disappears back into the throng of the other managers, happy that he's justified his wages for another month. Steve speaks to Cheng.
Cheng, you have to remove all this furniture. We have to keep the staff safe at all times, and we cannot risk a fire in here. Get this stuff out.
Cheng decides to change the subject in the hope that this furniture nonsense gets forgotten.
Steve, as this is a canteen, we currently do not have a way for the staff to cook their food. Can we have a microwave in here, please?
A microwave? I'm not sure. They're expensive.
No, they're not. I understand that they can be bought very cheaply from most supermarkets.
Okay, wait a second.
Steve turns to the other manager.
Sean, have you still got that microwave you're getting rid of?
One of the managers steps forward and replies,
Yeah, definitely. The wife wants it gone. It's got green flashes when it operates and sparks come out the back.
Are you okay to bring it in here for the guys?
Yeah, sure. I'm glad to get rid of it. To be honest, that thing's a fucking death trap.
Steve turns back to Cheng and tells him,
There you go. You've got a new microwave for the staff.
Cheng has given up being shocked at the things Steve says, and now just looks blankly at him.
Is there anything else in here that needs our attention?
Yes, Steve,
replies Cheng.
The water here for the sink is not fit for human consumption.
Right. Is that something Kok Wang told you to say?
No. There's a sign on the sink that says it's not fit for human consumption. It's been here since we moved in.
So you don't want to drink the water then?
No, not really. It's not fit for human consumption.
Fine, okay. Then just use the water from the taps in the toilets then.
I don't think that's safe to use either.
Steve looks exasperated.
Okay then, let's go to the toilets and have a look.
Inside the toilets, the reporter is busy struggling with a blockage in a toilet cubicle. The contents of the toilet have backed up and flooded the floor. Steve and the other managers are immediately repulsed and try to maneuver themselves against the wall where the flood is shallowest. Steve angrily shouts at Cheng.
Cheng, this is disgusting. You should be ashamed of having toilets like this.
I'm sorry, Steve, but they've been this way since we moved in. They block easily and flood the place.
Well, it's obvious what the problem is here. Your staff are spending too much time shitting and not enough time working.
I'm not sure that is the problem. I think it might be something to do with the plumbing.
Nope, I can guarantee 100% that's it. It's caused by staff repeatedly coming in here to shit while we pay their wages.
Okay.
The solution is simple. We monitor the time that staff use these toilets. Maybe put ankle braces on them, which are triggered whenever they enter and leave the toilets. The latest scientific studies done in Japan show you that you can take your trousers down, shit, wipe, trousers up, and back to work in 2 minutes or less. Free if you have diarrhea or dysentery.
What about the time taken to wash hands?
Don't worry about that, that's not important.
Steve, we also need to have some showers installed.
Why?
Because the staff will get very dirty fighting demons. They'll get covered in blood, slime, excrement, vomit, and God knows what.
Can't the staff just wait until the end of the shift and go home and have a shower?
No, not really.
Well, okay, let's get the more important monitoring things sorted out first. Making sure the staff aren't shitting for too long wanks. Far higher than showers, I'm afraid.
We prefer showers, as this monitoring thing probably won't work as we don't have the resources to do it. Our computers have Windows 98 on them, remember?
Good point. So, what we'll do is, we'll buy you a state-of-the-art computer, which we'll use exclusively for monitoring the staff's toilet times. And we'll get an internet line put in here, so you can upload all the details to us every day. We'll track these times ourselves, so you don't need to worry about anything. See? We're doing you all a favour here.
I thought you said that there was enough money for up-to-date computers and internet.
I don't remember saying that. Okay, Chungo, let's move on again.
They move out of the toilets and into the main hall area where they see Wang is giving instruction in demon handling to some recruits. Here he has a pallet truck complete with a pallet and is showing the recruits how they would lift an unconscious or injured demon onto a pallet so they could remove it and bring it back for imprisonment. Steve and the other managers instantly complain when they see what's happening.
You shouldn't be doing that. That's not allowed. Somebody do something. What's he doing?
Wang doesn't understand what he's doing wrong and looks over at Cheng. Cheng shrugs, as is just as clueless. Steve tells them what's wrong.
You can't give training on lifting demons onto pallet trucks. You need, first of all, to give adequate manual handling training so that the recruits understand the best way to lift demons. There needs to be a specific safety initiative undertaken to correctly produce the safest results. And I'm not seeing that here. I mean, have you even given training for operating a pallet truck?
No. I didn't realise a pallet truck needed a training routine.
Replies Cock.
That's your problem, Cock. You just don't think, do you? Of course pallet trucks need training. What if someone trapped their foot under it or ran over someone's foot? What if this truck was heavily laden and the operator lost control of the truck and it went careering down a hill and smashed into a bus stop full of old ladies? That would be your fault, Cock. That would be on your conscience.
Cock nods wearingly.
I see that you're not using brooms anymore. That's very good. So what are you using instead?
I've been given a demonstration with a magic sword from Master Cheng's repository.
Steve starts shouting at Cock.
You can't use magic swords. That's even more dangerous than a broom. It would be so easy for someone to get hurt with a magic sword. Someone could get killed. What were you thinking, Cock?
We need to use something to fight the demons.
Look, don't use anything dangerous to fight the demons. Nothing at all. It's not that hard to understand, Cock.
How can we fight the demons if we can't actually fight the demons?
Cock, I'm getting really annoyed with your constant negative attitude. You're being nothing but unhelpful, and we need positivity around here. Don't think your attitude is not being noticed here.
Steve jabs a finger at Cock and then storms off. The other managers and Cheng follow. Cheng doesn't even look up at Cock. He feels too defeated. The next room they visit is the armory. This place contains garden forks, shovels, and brooms arranged against walls. There are stacks of cardboard boxes filled with various PPE gear, including high-visibility jackets and Kevlar-lined trousers with reflective strips. The managers crowd into this room and try to find space amongst all the boxes. They open boxes and look through all the various contents. They're very pleased that the PPE seems to be present and correct.
Ooh, that's nice.
They admire the quality and shininess of the reflective strips.
So lovely.
Holding up the high visibility jackets, they comment positively on the wording on the back of each jacket. Temple of Flying Monkeys. Cheng sees the wording and is instantly angry, but he keeps his temper. Steve looks over at him.
Hey Cheng, we're very impressed with all this gear. You've actually done something right for once. Well done.
Cheng nods seemingly happily while seething with anger. Steve turns to another manager and asks,
Gary, these high visibility jackets are great. How many should be issued to each staff member?
Well, one jacket should be sufficient, but latest studies from France show that wearing 2 jackets makes the staff member twice as visible.
How does that work? Surely wearing 2 means that one underneath can't be seen.
That's correct, Steve. Which is why each staff member will be wearing 3 jackets, as the final one will cancel out the one which can't be seen. So we are talking about triple visibility per staff member.
That's amazing. I just love how newer studies give us more performance for our projects.
Steve turns to Cheng.
Jem, make sure all the staff members wear 3 jackets at all times, even when they're at home.
At home?
Asks Cheng, confused.
Yeah, absolutely. We want everyone to see that we take the staff's safety so importantly that we protect them even when they're not at work. 24-hour protection for our staff. It shows that we care for them, like they're our family. You name me any other employer that would do that.
You're right. No other employer would do that.
Exactly.
Steve says triumphantly, and the other managers give a round of applause.
So Cheng, what is the calibre of our family or staff looking like?
Well, most were forced to come here from the job centre, so we're only giving them a few hours work each week while we see what they are like, as they are on 0-hour contracts. 12 have quit, 1 left after 20 minutes, 5 haven't turned up, and 6 went home sick. We replaced these with new ones from the agency, and of these, 9 haven't shown up. 4 were late, and 1 was high on drugs. The rest are quite good and show potential for the future,
replies Cheng.
It's good to hear that there are a few good apples in the barrel. We don't want those lazy ones. Tell these remaining good ones that if they mess about, they're fired and kicked off site. If they don't wear the correct PPE at all times, they're fired. Late, fired. Sick, fired. If they don't turn up without ringing 10 minutes before the shift, fired. Poor performance, fired. Damaging temple property, fired. Bad attitude, fired. Look at you funny, fired. Don't ever let them forget that they're only 0-hour agency staff and we can replace them at any moment we like. All this will make them better workers. Also, identify the ones who are best and the best. And now and again, for no reason at all, cut their hours down to 2 or 3 in a week. This will make them even more available when you want them to work a 100-hour shift. We need our best staff hungry for work, Cheng. If you do all this, you will create a more loyal workforce. Trust me.
Cheng is appalled. The other managers applaud Steve again.
Yay! Oh, way! Way to go, Steve. All right, Steve.
This episode was brought to you by Cine Downloads, narrated by Dr. Hugh Pincott. Today's episode featured Wai Wong as Master Cheng Fu, George Wilson as Steve the Manager. Other voices provided by Nathan Nurrah as Kok Wang, Kai Bryan as Yinghua, Phil Ward, Dan Scott, Dan Schreiber, Chris Ball Hero. Written, produced, edited and directed by John Mitchell. Co-produced by Chris Ball Hero. Sound recorded by Louis Thomsen, Chris Ball Hero. Sound engineer Andrew Doc Collins. Theme tune by Ged Grey. Thank you for listening, and watch out for the next episode of the Temple of the Killer Tiger Monkeys.